Good morning and welcome to KCPS Homeroom. I'm Justin Robinson. Again, today is for first and second grade students. We will start off with reading, then a math class, science class, intro to Chinese, and finally, STEM. Hope you enjoy class today. Let's get ready to learn with Mr. Hall and reading.
Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Mr. Hall, and today we are going to talk about how characters change throughout a story. So our I can statement today is, I can analyze how characters change throughout a story. Today, we are going to read the story called Peter's Chair by Ezra Jack Keats. And what we're going to do is, we are going to look at how Peter changes throughout the story. Essentially, we're going to look at his perspective and how things change throughout his life. Today, as we read, I would like you to think about how Peter changes throughout the story. In order to think about how Peter changes throughout the story, there are a few things that we have to think about. We have to think about what happens at the beginning, middle, and at the end of the story. The beginning is how we start the story. How does the character or the narrator describe the character at the beginning? Then we have to think about the middle of the story. What does the narrator say that the character does or thinks in the middle? And then at the end of the story, oftentimes writers do very clever things and make the characters mature or change in some kind of way. In many cases, many of them sometimes learn a lesson. So as we read the story Peter's Chair today, I want you to think about how does Peter change from the beginning, middle, and end of the story, and think about his perspective about the chair and everything else that he owns. Please join me as we read. Peter stretched as high as he could. There, his tall building was finished. This is the beginning of the story. Crash! Down it came. Shh! Called his mother. You'll have to play more quietly. Remember, we have a new baby in the house. That sounds like a change so far. Sounds like Peter was probably the only child in the house, and then all of a sudden, there's someone new entering the home. Peter looked into his sister Susie's room. His mother was fussing around the cradle. That's my cradle, he thought, and they painted it pink. Peter's feeling some kind of way right now. Can you guess what kind of feeling he's feeling? I would say that he's feeling kind of jealous or even concerned. Let's see if he continues to feel that way or if things change throughout the story. Hi, Peter, said his father. Would you like to help paint Sister's high chair? It's my high chair, whispered Peter. Oh, Peter feels some kind of entitlement, as if that belongs to him. Indeed, it once did. He saw his crib and muttered, My crib. It's painted pink too. Not far away stood his old chair. They didn't paint that yet, Peter shouted. Can you see in this picture? Peter is actually behind the crib and he sees the chair. What do you think he's gonna do with the chair? He notices that his parents haven't painted it. Do you think that he might try to take the chair? That's what I'm thinking right now. I wonder what he's going to do. He picked it up and ran to his room. We were right. Peter definitely did pick up the chair and he took it. Let's run away, Willie, he said. Peter filled a shopping bag with cookies and dog biscuits. We'll take my blue chair, my toy crocodile, and a picture of me when I was a baby. Willie got his bone. So at this point in the story, we're kind of in the middle, and Peter feels as though he's gonna run away. We know he's gonna run away because he's packing all of his things. He even tells the dog to come on. He's gonna take the dog too. They went outside and stood in front of his house. This is a good place, said Peter. He arranged his things very nicely and decided to sit in his chair for a while. So now he's outside the house. Did Peter really run? Did he really run away? Not really. He's right outside of his house. But he couldn't fit in the chair. He was too big. His mother came to the window and called, "Won't you come back to us, Peter dear? We have something very special for lunch." Peter and Willie made believe they didn't hear. But Peter got an idea. It sounds like right now that Peter is ignoring his mom. And I wonder what his idea is. Remember, Peter didn't get too far from his house. I wonder if he's going to go back into his house. Let's find out. Soon, his mother saw signs that Peter was home. "That rascal is hiding behind the curtain," she said happily. If you look at the picture like I am, I can see Peter's shoes right behind the curtain. I think that Peter is hiding behind the curtain. And so does Mom. I think Mom thinks the same thing. And his toys are all over the place. That might be a good indication that Peter is in that room or that space. She moved the curtain away, but he wasn't there. Peter tricked her. She thought that he was behind the curtain, but Peter was not behind the curtain. "Here I am!" shouted Peter. Where was Peter hiding? I think he was hiding behind the dresser. Peter sat in a grown-up chair. His father sat next to him. "Daddy," said Peter, "let's paint the little chair pink for Susie." And they did. And that was the end of the story. Now, let's talk about how Peter may have changed throughout the story, and let's think about what happened at the beginning, middle, and the end of the story. In the beginning of the story, Peter was very concerned about his sister. He was concerned that all of his things were being taken away and being given to her, like the chair or even the crib. All of those things belonged to Peter. By the time we get into the middle of the story, we notice that Peter decides that he's gonna run away. He doesn't really run away too far, but he was really upset. I think that was a way for him to calm down or cool himself off to some degree. And by the end of the story, we learn that Peter has matured significantly. Peter even decides that he wants to help paint his old chair for his new little sister. That's growing up. That's the lesson that he learned. He learned to grow up and give away things that he wasn't using. And the coolest part of it all was that Peter got a chance to sit in a grown-up chair, a chair that was the perfect size for him. I want to thank you so much for joining me in our reading segment today, and I hope that you'll join us again next week. Thank you again.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for first and second graders. I am so glad you're here today. Let's learn something new in math. Today we're going to be talking more about subtracting two-digit numbers using expanded form. All you need today is a piece of paper and a pencil. Let's get started. We're first going to go over our I can statement. Our I can statement today says, I can subtract two-digit numbers by putting the numbers in expanded form. If I remember correctly from last week, I only changed one word in this I can statement, and that's that word subtract. So the only word that's different is subtract. It used to say add. So we used to be putting numbers together to make something bigger. Now we're going to be subtracting or taking away. So I can take away or subtract two-digit numbers by putting the numbers in expanded form. And we remember what expanded form is. Expanded form is when we show the value of each digit in a number. I'm going to put that up on the board just to remind us. So we have, I can subtract or take away two-digit numbers by putting the numbers in expanded form, or I can show the value of each digit in a number. All right, this chart has helped us with our expanded form addition. It's going to help us today with our expanded form subtraction as well. But we do need to change one step. Which step do you think we should change? We have number 1, stack. Number 2, identify. Number 3, expand. Number 4, add. Or number 5, squish. That super mathematical term, right? Which one do we need to change to help go with our I can statement today? That's right, we need to get rid of that word add, and we need to change it to subtract. If we're going to take away, we can't be adding in our step, right? So I'm going to change step 4 to subtract. It's like it was never there. Let's try our first problem. Our first problem today is 59 minus 21. If I go back to my chart to look at step 1, I see that it's telling me to stack. So I know I need to stack my 2 numbers on top of each other. Now with subtraction, this step can be really, really super important because if we mess it up, it can mess up our whole problem. So we're going to stack up 59 minus 21. And we notice that that bigger number is on top. When we are stacking up our subtraction problem with 2 numbers, we want to make sure that that bigger number is always on top. We can't take away from a smaller number. So we have to make sure we start out strong in our problem. Starting out strong means starting out with that big number on top. So we have 59 minus 21. Step 1, done. Step 2 says to identify. I'm going to identify today using a blue marker and a red marker to put around my 10s and my 1s place. If you don't have different colors at home, you can always just put a box around the 10s place and a circle around the 1s place. So I see a 5 in my 10s place in the number 59, a 9 in the 1s place, a 2 in the 10s place in the number 21, and a 1 in the 1s place in the number 21. This step helps us with our next one. What is our next step? Expand. So we need to expand our 2 numbers, and we want to make sure that as we've stacked them, we keep them in line with the order that we've put them in. So that means that the expanded form of 59 has to go on top because that's the number we put on top when we stacked, because it's the bigger problem. When I think about putting 59 in expanded form, I see that there's a 5 in the 10s place. 5 10s means 50. Showing the value. The value of 5 10s is 50. The 9 in my 1s place, the value is 9. So putting the number 59 in expanded form is 50 plus 9. Now we need to do the exact same thing with the number 21. I see a 2 in the 10s place, 2 10s. The value of 2 10s is 20. Plus the value in the 1s place, which is a 1. Now I have expanded my problem. This is that one step that we are changing because it has to go with what we said we were going to do. And what we're going to do is subtract. So our next step is to subtract our 2 expanded forms. The last 2 weeks we were adding. Today we're going to subtract. We have to follow that same sign throughout. Now, this part can get kind of confusing because you see we have plus signs on our problem. But these plus signs are helping us with our expanded form. They don't do anything other than show us that when we put these 2 numbers together, it equals this number. So I remember I have my subtraction sign right here. I have it right here when I stacked up the problem. I'm going to bring it over here just so I really, really don't forget. And now I can start subtracting. I want to subtract my 1s place first. So if I come to my 1s place, I can do 9 minus 1. 9 take away 1. 9 subtract 1. Whatever you want to say. When I take away 1 from 9, I get 8. Now I can go ahead and move to my 10s place. I have 50 minus 20. I can also think of this as 5 10s minus 2 10s. That makes it a little bit easier of a subtraction problem. Because if I just have 5 10s and I'm taking away 2 of them, now I only have 3 10s. But I know that 3 10s is actually 30. Now I have my answer in expanded form. So now I get to do the most fun, really tricky mathematical thing I've ever done, and I get to squish it together. And when I squish my answer together, I get 38. Woohoo! Not too bad, right? We're only changing one step when we use subtraction with expanded form. All right, now is when you need your piece of paper and a pencil because we're going to try some together. We're going to try the problem 75 minus 14. So go ahead and put this at the top of your paper. You might already know what step 1 is. Maybe you wrote the problem as if you already had done step 1. Step 1 is to stack up our work. We know we need to put that bigger number on top. Our bigger number probably was already first in the problem, so that makes it pretty easy. Now that my problem is stacked up, I want to identify. You might just identify in your head. You might identify by drawing a box or a circle with your pencil. I'm going to identify using my different colors to really help me when it comes to that next step. I see that I have a 7 in my tens place in the number 75 and a 1 in my tens place in the number 14. I also have a number 5 in the ones place in the number 75, so I'm going to put a red circle around it. And a 4 in the ones place in the number 14. Now that I have identified, I can expand. I want to make sure I keep my numbers in the same order that they are. So the number 75 in expanded form's on top, the number 14 in expanded form's on bottom. What is the number 75 in expanded form? Can anyone tell me? You're right, it is 70 plus 5. I saw that I had 7 tens plus my 5 ones, so 70 plus 5. Now I need to do the same thing to the number 14. Sometimes this can be kind of tricky seeing that 1 in the tens place, but it doesn't have to be tricky. Knowing that 1 10 just equals 10. Plus my number in the ones place, which is a 4. Now I have put both of my numbers in expanded form. My zeros are kind of messy today. There we go. So if I look back, I need to subtract. I see my subtraction sign right here, right here. I'm going to add it right here as well, just so I remember through every step exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to subtract my ones first. All right, my ones. 5 minus 4. 5 take away 4. If I take away 4 from 5, what do I get? 1. Now I need to take away my tens place. I have 70 minus 10. 70 minus 10. 7 tens minus 1 10. 6 tens are 60. Now my answer is in expanded form. So I get to do the best step, which is squish it together. I squish my tens and my ones together, and I get the answer 61. Nice job. I have a challenge for you today, and that challenge is a word problem that you're going to need to subtract and use expanded form to find the right answer. I think you guys are ready. All right, here's your word problem. There were 97 days of summer. It's a long summer. It was a good summer because it was so long. 23 of the days were cloudy and rainy. So how many of them were sunny? I had 97 days total. 23 of them were cloudy and rainy. So how many days of summer were sunny? Let's figure out what the subtraction problem is going to be. If I had 97 days of summer, I hear that's my bigger number, so I know that needs to come first. And then how many of those days were rainy? 23. So I know I'm going to take away 97, or I'm going to take away 23 from 97. My first step is to stack it up. You guys probably already had that on your paper. Now I want you to see if you can go ahead and identify the tens and the ones place, expand the two numbers, subtract first the ones, then the tens, and then squish your expanded form answer into your final answer. All right, I think you guys can do it. You got to figure out how many sunny days we had in summer. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this was Math Mania. I'll see you next time.
Hello and welcome back to first and second grade science with me, Miss Allen. I am glad that you are here today. So far, we've learned about the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, the sun, Earth's moon, our planet Earth, and its 4 layers. Do you remember the 4 layers of the Earth? Let's see. Here they are. Do you remember? Inner core, outer core, mantle and crust. The inner core made of rock, the outer core very hot. The mantle, it is thick, and the crust made of dirt. Today we're going to learn about another important feature of our Earth, the atmosphere. Did you know that the Earth is made up of liquid, solid, and gas? A liquid. An example of a liquid is, can you see it? Water. Earth has water in its oceans, lakes, rivers. It's made up of water. Another example is solid. Earth is made up of solid or land. We know the Earth is made up of land. The different continents are made of land. So here's some soil to show us a solid. It's also made up of gas. Can you see the gas? We can't see it, but it's there. It's air, oxygen, carbon dioxide, a gas that surrounds the Earth, and we call that the atmosphere. So we have liquid, solid, and gas, the atmosphere. What does the atmosphere do? I'm going to tell you 3 things. It contains oxygen and carbon dioxide, it protects us, and it allows for water to travel throughout Earth. I'm going to tell you a little more about those 3 things. We breathe in oxygen. Take a deep breath. We breathe out carbon dioxide. So we breathe in oxygen and out carbon dioxide. We get that oxygen from our atmosphere. And we put carbon dioxide out into the atmosphere. Plants, other living things, plants breathe in carbon dioxide and out oxygen. And so it's a relationship that benefits both of us. Secondly, the atmosphere protects us. It protects us. We learned earlier that Earth orbits around the sun. The sun, we know, is so hot and so strong. The atmosphere protects us from those strong, hot rays. It protects us from dangerous rays from the sun. It also helps to regulate temperature, so it's not too hot and not too cold on Earth. It's just right for us to live on. The atmosphere is sometimes called a superhighway. A superhighway in the sky that allows water to travel throughout Earth in the form of precipitation. That's called the water cycle, the continuous movement of water within Earth's atmosphere. I just said the word precipitation. Do you know what precipitation is, or do you know a type of precipitation? Precipitation is when water is released back into Earth as rain, snow, hail, any type of water. Just like we know there are different layers of the Earth inside the Earth, there are different layers of the atmosphere around our Earth, surrounding our Earth. I'm going to start closest to our Earth and go out further and further away. The layer of the atmosphere closest to us is called the troposphere. That's where all the weather occurs, the troposphere. Stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Those are the 5 layers of the atmosphere. It's important that we take care of our atmosphere. We know that we need the atmosphere to survive. It gives us air to breathe, protection from the sun's rays, and it allows water to fall to the earth and take care of plants and living things. How can we take care of our atmosphere? Pollution from big factories or driving cars are different hazards that may cause harm to the atmosphere. Some ways that we can take care of our atmosphere and protect it from pollution are by choosing to ride a bike or walk short distances instead of driving our cars, to plant gardens and plants or trees in our yards, and to make sure we are recycling plastics and paper. The layer of the atmosphere closest to our Earth is the troposphere. In the troposphere, you can find clouds and weather. So I have a little follow along activity for us here to end our time together, where we're going to track the clouds and the weather over a day to see how they change. All right, so we learned that the layer of the atmosphere closest to us is called the troposphere, and in that layer there are the clouds and weather. We can find clouds and weather in that layer. I'm going to grab a piece of paper, divide it in half, divide it in half again. I'm just going to create fourths. The paper is divided in fourths. Each of these boxes is going to represent a day. I'm going to divide the box for my first day in half. I'm going to call one box AM and one box PM. So before noon and afternoon, morning and afternoon. I am then going to observe what the sky and the weather looks like in the morning and in the afternoon to see if I can see any changes in weather or clouds in the sky. I'm going to either write about it or draw about it in my boxes. So we'll have a box for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if you'd like, Saturday and Sunday, so you can record the changes in the weather and the clouds that are occurring in the atmospheric level, the troposphere. Thanks for joining me today as we learned about Earth's atmosphere, and I will see you next week.
Welcome to our Chinese class. 欢迎学汉语，欢迎。My name is Jin Yang, and this is the Chinese lesson for grade 1 and grade 2 student. It's also for beginners in learning Chinese. Today, we are going to go over how to ask someone's age and how to tell someone your age in Chinese. What you will need today is a notebook and a pencil if you need to take notes. Okay, let's get ready to learn. 请听我说. First, let's review the numbers we just learned before. 0 0 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 5 5 6 6 7 7 8 8 9 9 Great! Let's learn the multiple to 10. For example, 10 20 30 40 50 60
Hotep Scholars, I'm Professor Horton, and this is STEM for 2nd grade. So, last week we talked all about texture. We took our time to analyze monster trucks like this one and this one. We took a close look at the texture of the trucks. We looked at the smooth texture of the body, the rough texture of the tires, and then we documented the textures in our launch log. In fact, your job was to look around your house and find one object to analyze and document its texture. For today, we're going to look at another property that scientists and engineers use all the time to explain properties of objects. This property is color. So, have you ever wondered why some objects appear to be one color and other objects are another color? For example, why is the paint on this monster truck yellow and this monster truck red, or even with this monster truck being blue? What makes the paint on the monster trucks different colors? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore. We're going to take a closer look at how we see color. So, whenever you see color, what you're actually looking at is the way that the light is reflected off of the truck. In this case, light bounces off. Light is actually projected towards the truck. All of the other colors in the light are absorbed by the truck. The only color that is reflected from the truck is yellow. If we take another look at this truck, for example, the same process, all of the colors are in white light. When the light hits the truck, all of the other colors are absorbed by the truck, and only one color is reflected off of the truck. Can you take a guess at what color that is? If you said red, that is correct. The only color that's reflected off of the truck after the light bounces or is absorbed by the truck is red. Let's try this again. With the blue truck, the same white light, which contains every color in the rainbow, hits the truck. That's how we're able to see it. It's not dark. But when the light hits the truck, all of the colors in this white light are absorbed by the truck, except for one color. We're talking about the body of the truck that is blue. The only color that is reflected off of the truck is blue. And that is why this truck appears to be blue. This truck is red. And this one is yellow. So, in today's experiment, we're going to learn how to create a rainbow using white light, a mirror, and water. So hang around and let's see what we come up with. Scholars, we're back in the lab and we're ready to do our very first lab experiment. So, for today's experiment, we're going to create an indoor rainbow. All you'll need for this project are a piece of white paper, a flashlight, and either a glass full of water or a container like this, but it needs to be clear, preferably glass. You're gonna have to put a lot of water in it. So I'm using this. You can use a glass if you have one. Most people do. But before we get started, let's go ahead and review what we learned in our lesson today. So today we learned that in order to see color, we actually need white light. White light carries every color of the rainbow. In fact, when you look at a white piece of paper, it looks white because it's actually reflecting every color of the rainbow. So all of the colors in the white light hit this white paper and bounce off, and it looks white. The opposite of that is black. With black, no colors of the rainbow reflect. So all of the colors of the rainbow are in the white light. It all hits the paper, but it just gets absorbed by the paper. Nothing reflects, and we get a black piece of paper. When we talk about colorful objects like these monster trucks, for example, this red one is red because when the white light hits the truck with all of the colors of the rainbow, the only color that reflects is red. If you look at the yellow truck, the same thing. All of the colors of the rainbow hit the yellow truck, but the only color that reflects is yellow. So for today's project, we are going to take our white piece of paper, put it on the opposite side of our glass object. We'll turn out the lights. We will shine our flashlight through the paper, through the water. And just like in nature, the reason that we see rainbows is because the water particles actually separate the colors from the white light. So we're going to use this water to separate the colors from the light, and we'll see a rainbow that is reflected on our white paper. So let's give it a shot. Okay, scholars, now that you know how to use water to separate the color from white light, make sure that you get your parents' permission and then give this a shot at home. When you're finished, illustrate each step of the process in your launch log. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Horton, and thank you to all the other classroom teachers today. They all will be back next Tuesday with lessons targeted again for our first and second grade students. Tune in tomorrow, Wednesday, where we'll have lessons for grades 3 and 4. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day, and remember, continue learning throughout the day.
I chose manual because it's challenging and fun, and it can help me with college.
I chose manual because I wanted to get a jump start in my career with culinary arts.
I chose manual to acquire skills I'd use in real life.
I chose manual because I want to be an ER doctor, and be an EMT is my first step.
Kickstart your future today at Manual Career and Technical Center. Manual is open for all 11th and 12th grade students in both Kansas and Missouri. Learn more today at enrollkc.org/manual or call 816-418-5200.
At Lincoln Middle School, students discover their talents and passions, where teachers plant the seeds of lifelong learning.
I am Lincoln Middle,
where excellence is nurtured. Students develop the skills to be successful in school, career, and beyond.
Je suis Lincoln Middle.
Lincoln Middle is the public school where your child will thrive and grow. Open a world of possibilities. Apply today. Learn more at enrollkc.org/Lincoln Middle.
The desire to create lives within each of us. From Grammy-winning producers and musicians, to NBA stars, to Navy admirals and Medal of Honor recipients, to internationally renowned artists, and beloved local muralists, Paseo graduates have been creating their own success, their own history, their own legacy since 1926. Now it's your time. Create your future at Paseo Academy of Fine and Performing Arts. Learn more at enrollkc.org/Paseo.
I love Southeast because of the culture, the band program, and restorative justice.
I love Southeast because of the academics, sports, and students.
I love Southeast because of the people, the energy, and the advanced classes.
It's not alike. I love Southeast because the students here at Southeast are full of potential and they believe in achieving anything. We are Southeast. We stand shoulder to shoulder.
Join the Southeast family. Enroll today.
Kindergarten is great at Kansas City Public Schools.
I know they have really good teachers. I know this is a great school.
They teach them stuff that I thought my kids would never be able to know at the age of 5.
Since deciding to send our kiddos to a neighborhood school, we've become even more of a part of our community.
Now is the time to enroll your future kindergartner for the new school year. Visit enrollkc.org today.